Hello. This year, your student will be participating in something called a flipped classroom. A flipped classroom is a form of blended learning in which students watch lectures online and work on problem sets with other students in class. This approach allows teachers to spend more time interacting with students instead of lecturing. In a traditional classroom, teachers give lecture during class and then the students work problems at home. Versus a flipped classroom, students watch lectures at home and then work on those problems during class. So what does this mean for your student? Each day, your student will be assigned a video or videos to watch at home and then take notes along with the video. These notes should be handwritten in their journal, or they may be printed out from the fill-in notes on our website and they can write along with them. But if they choose to do the printout notes, then they must be taped into their journal. Here is an example of what a journal would look like and the handwritten notes versus the option to print out the notes on the left. You'll see this is what your notes would look like when you download them off the internet, and then this is what I expect to see when they turn them in class. So if your student is watching these videos at home, then what will they be doing in class? Well, each day I will check to make sure they've completed their notes from the nights before. Then I'll go over those notes, hit the tough spots that students often have problems with, and then do some examples in class. After that, I release them to their groups so that they can work with each other on the assignment that corresponds to the video they watched the night before. While they're going over these problems, I'm rotating between them and helping students on an individual basis. I often get asked why I teach this way, and here's a table I created of just a few reasons why I really enjoy doing a flipped classroom. So first off, what the teacher is doing in a normal classroom is lecturing a student, so one person talking at 30 students. Versus a flipped classroom, during the classroom time, the teacher is able to talk with each student and work out each kinks on an individual basis and really give them an individualized experience with the subject. Versus students during class, in a normal classroom, they'd be frantically writing down the notes, trying to get everything that the teacher is writing down, and not necessarily hearing or listening to what the teacher is saying, which is often one of the most important things. Versus in a flipped classroom, they're spending their time working with peers, and then when struggle occurs and those issues arise, then they have that support group of the people with them and then the teacher who are readily available to help them every day. Also, students have questions all the time, and in a traditional classroom, that means building up the courage to raise your hand and interrupt the class and ask the question. This is very embarrassing for a lot of students because they have a fear of their peers thinking that they're dumb for asking a question, and this pushes them to remain silent and not ask the questions and never get the clarity that they really need. Versus in a flipped classroom, during lecture you're at home in front of your computer and you can rewind the video as many times as you need to fully understand what the teacher is saying. And when a student is at home, in a traditional classroom, this means working problems by themselves. And what seemed so easy in class when the teacher was talking about it is now really hard, and the struggle occurs, and the students don't have help a lot of the time, and they just tend to give up because they can't do it. Versus in a flipped classroom, when the student's at home, they're watching a video. The students can start the video, pause it, write down the notes that the teacher has written on the screen, and then play and listen and really hear what the teacher is trying to say and get those important pieces that they might have missed during class had this been during class time versus at home. And lastly, I really like the flipped classroom in cases of absences, because when a student is absent in a normal classroom, they fall behind in class, they have to get notes from their friend, and who knows if their friend really took good notes on the day that they were absent. Versus in a flipped classroom, the student merely has to get on the website and this time watch 2 videos instead of the one, and they're receiving the exact same instruction as their peers did, and they aren't falling behind, they're keeping up. And this really is very helpful, especially to students with extracurricular activities and in keeping up with everything. Thank you so much for watching my video. I look forward to teaching your student this year, and I hope you have a good experience with the flipped classroom. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me.